Well, welcome to Let's Talk Antiques here on Thunder Radio this morning. Welcome, guys. And who all we got here this morning?
Well, we got the regular crew, except we got Mr. Larry Bowles, and today we're gonna talk about flea markets and yard sales and the proper way to set up. But what we're gonna do the first half of our show is talk about some flea market finds, some yard sale finds, some of the thrift store finds, and Philip's going to handle that. And then Ronnie and Larry's going to tell his stories about how to set up and what he's found, and you're going to jump in, and Ronnie's going to tell about all the good Star Wars stuff he's found, and Ronnie's found a lot of good stuff, except Ronnie sold all his, most of it.
Yeah.
Ronnie got a little greedy.
Well, anyway, so Philip.
Well, can we talk about this one first?
You ain't sure can. That railroad watch?
Yeah, well, last week, we were talking about the railroad watches, and of course I mentioned the fact that I had one that had been my grandfather's, and I just wanted to I showed it to everybody here this morning. I hold it up in front of the microphone so you all can see it.
Turn around that way.
Hold that up so everybody can see it. There you go. Well, hold it
in the picture up right.
Pretty close.
Hey, hold it up in front of the microphone so the people on the radio can.
I know.
Did you do it?
Wind it so they can hear it.
You can't hear it. It's quiet. Anyway, so I found this watch, and it was my grandfather's, and I didn't know anything about it. I couldn't figure out how to set it or anything, see. So I finally got the back off the silly thing, and it's threaded, and I found the serial number, and I found out it's very important you get the movement serial number, not the case serial number. There's two different serial numbers.
Sure.
I just learned something.
And so then I went on and I Googled, and I found a web page that has all the information. This particular watch that I have here was made. It went through the finishing department on December 22nd, 1923.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And what brand is it?
It's a Hamilton, and there is a web page called Pocket Watch Database search.com search results Hamilton.
Okay.
And they said run. I don't understand. It says run quantity. I guess for that particular year was 32,000.
Okay.
Total production was 447,200. It's a model 992.
Okay.
And it has 21 jewels. It's a size 16. Remember we were talking about the size?
I've got one right here.
This is a size 16. Ruby and sapphire jewels, gold, open face, nickel. It has all the information I guess you'd ever want to. And I finally found out how to set it. You unscrew the crystal.
Yeah.
And there's a little lever over here in one corner. You have to kind of pull out on it with your thumb or with the finger, and then you can turn the stem, and it'll adjust. Otherwise, the stem, you can't pull the stem out.
Right.
You have to. The stem will wind it, but not change it. So I guess that's to keep you from bumping it and changing the time if you're in your watch.
Well, you know why? Because those trains had to be on time. They didn't want you to make a mistake.
I make a mistake. So,
that's right.
But there's when you pull and it took me the longest time to find it because it's just a wee little thing. Everything is real small on it naturally. But I thought that was it. You might be interested in. And the prices that I found on Google range anywhere from like $100 to $400, depending, I guess, on the quality and.
Well, we got some real prices.
Now this one here has some wear on the back. You can tell it is a used watch, and so anyway, I thought a nice heavy chain.
I've got one that's that exact model and year that looks similar condition to that at $212, and I've got one that's in shiny, beautiful condition for $337.
$337.
Yeah. Now there's a 1926 instead of 23. They was asking $549. Took a little less. Did you see it, Philip?
I looked for a 1923 since that's what he's.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
So there was a couple of 26s, the same model.
Same model, yeah.
So they wanted one of them sold for $400. What's the highest one on the 23?
$337.
$330. Yeah. So I don't know. I imagine.
But the jewels might make a difference. This might not be the exact one.
But is that in a railroad watch, Philip?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's got a.
Well, it's got the jewels.
It's the model and the size and the 21 jewel. Yeah.
Yeah, inside the case, if you look, it says Hamilton 992, and it's hard to read, but it looks like it's Bunn, B-U-N-N. Was that special?
I don't see.
Model. I don't know what that is, but and it's a Wadsworth or Wordsworth quality. It's hard to read the inscription on the inside.
Is that a what size is that one?
This is a 16.
Well, here's a 16, 1914. It brought $350.
Yeah. So
Same 10 carat.
yeah. So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting, and the web, if you have a watch like that, and you can find all kind of stuff. I was surprised how detailed the listing of for all the years of the production of the
That's
watches
really
at
good.
Hamilton.
It's great that they've kept up with that. That's something you usually hear is like, oh, well, it burned down in 1955.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was
or
in the courthouse
60.
when it burned.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, okay, that's enough about watches. Let's get on to the yard
That's
sales,
really nice,
garage
though,
sales.
Howard. That's a beautiful watch.
It is, and the fact that it still runs and it keeps
Smooth
good.
as silk.
Yeah, and it's nice.
And actually, that it was your grandfather's.
My grandfather.
That would mean more to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, I don't know if it means anything to him or not. He sold his grandpa's train.
well, yeah, but
You ought to be ashamed.
I ought to be ashamed of myself. But what are you going to do with
He got too big to ride on it.
Well, no, I could still ride on it. It was about as big as this desk.
You should have kept it.
Oh, wow, he had a big train.
It
That
on-
was your grandpa's. You should have kept it.
I
You ought
should-
to be ashamed.
I should be, but
Was it pedal power?
no, it was
a real
steam powered.
Oh,
Steam
man, I
powered
wanted
that
to
they
know
built.
that.
Yeah, he
Oh,
built
really?
it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I hadn't heard about
Oh,
that.
yeah, it was a live steam
And he
engine.
sold his grandpa's train.
When,
A steamer.
Money.
so you was able to ride in it?
I've
right?
never ridden on it. No, I've
Okay,
I've
but-
never seen it fired up. He used to fire it up. I guess my
Well,
dad
did it
and
run on
gran-
did it run on
On
track?
track, yeah.
oh yeah,
Had its own track.
the track was about 5 inches, which was almost standard. It was scale everywhere, but in the track width because our scale, what is it, 4 foot something or another for.
How much
And-
track did you have?
Well, since I'm a person
I didn't have
usually
much.
lags behind, it would be nice if I was thinking of caboose.
Well, there was a caboose.
Caboose.
He sold it too.
Sold it too.
Caboose. Okay.
Yeah.
Look
All
here,
right.
his poor grandpa took years to build that train. And he passed it down to Howard.
Well, actually,
And then Howard sells it. At least he didn't sell it on eBay. Or did you?
no. There is a railroad model railroad live steam model railroad web page that specializes, and they have there's actually, I guess, a gauge slightly smaller, and all the way up to some stuff that's like a 2 foot gauge, big stuff.
2 foot gauge.
I mean,
Wow, that's
and
pretty
they
big.
have a big meet somewhere here in Middle Tennessee to the west of us. I forget, Fayetteville or Columbia, somewhere over in that general area. They meet.
You better get over and get your train back.
Yeah, races.
Last time, yeah. No,
See, here's the thing, Howard. Had you kept that train,
yeah,
you could have brought that in the house.
I couldn't pick it up.
No, but somebody picked it up to haul it off.
Well, it took 2 people to pick it up.
So you could pick it up, put it in the house, and hang that nice watch over that train. Wouldn't that have been nice?
He's trying to make me feel bad, isn't he? Anyway, let's change the subject.
And like Howard needed the money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back to our subject today.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Let's get on our
So
subject.
what did you look up first?
I've got some garage sale finds that are some of the best ever. So in May 15th, Christie's auction house in New York made history by selling this painting, a 50-cent painting that somebody bought from a yard sale.
Sound like you,
It
Larry.
turns out it was a Picasso.
Wow.
The price tag on this one went for just over $179 million.
Oh, is that all?
For 50 good investment for 50 cents. Howard.
50 cents. I don't know about that.
Here's a Tiffany mirror that was purchased for $2, and somebody took it on the Antique Roadshow because they were they had noticed that it had what's the name of it, Tiffany USA on it, stamped on it, and it was appraised at $25,000.
Well, I can understand the Picasso.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen some of his work?
Yes.
It looks like it was painted by a 3-year-old.
Well, this is a worn one. It's,
but
it's like
but
1,
the
2, 3,
the
4,
Tiffany
5,
thing, I
6.
could see. I'm more likely seeing it understanding of it would have value, but a
I wouldn't
painting,
recognize that
you know,
as
you wouldn't
Picasso.
recognize
Howard,
it.
we have two Picassos,
And I
and one
can
of them
easily
is like
spot
you
'em.
said, looks like a kid painted.
Yeah.
It's three little stick men. So when I brought it home, my granddaughter said, "Well, Papa,
I'll
I could have painted you one of them."
Sure. No, I don't mean any disrespect for Mr. Picasso, but you know, some of that stuff you see
Yeah.
and you say, "Oh, that can't be that. What is that? You know, that's not worth anything." So
This
it's
was actually-
understandable something like that could get into a garage sale.
My comment is there's none of us here understand art
Oh,
to the point that we realize that, you know, there are people out there that understand art to the point that they go, wow.
oh, I know.
You know,
he's
Yeah.
right.
I mean,
Like 200 million.
I mean, you know, I could go to Walmart and get me a bucket of paint and throw it up against the wall and then cut it out and put it up for auction, and somebody'd say, first thing, who is the artist?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. And my name is not known for anything like that, even though I'm guilty. I took art in high school, so I understand.
So you're a trained
you know,
artist.
no way.
He's a trained artist.
No way. I painted a head of a dog.
and it ended up looking like a cat.
Close. Close.
Well,
This particular dog was not supposed to have long hair, but when I got through with it, it had grown. From the time I started till I finished, the hair had grown. So all I know is the art teacher give me a good grade on that painting. And folks, I have never ever painted anything. Oh well, maybe a few rails, maybe the deck, the outside deck or something like that. But now, folks, I have never painted anything since.
That's
And-
because you're a retired painter.
Yeah.
You're a retired artist.
It makes your older work
I
worth
had
more.
never ever considered.
well, you know, there's hope for him because remember Grandma Moses.
Yeah.
She started late in life,
But
and she
anyway,
became rich and famous from her paintings.
there are things that people look at.
We could have Grandpa.
honestly,
Here.
Grandma and Grandpa.
Yeah.
You know, Picasso, without a doubt, when he first started out, you know, he started from scratch, and then, you know, later on in life, gained a lot of notoriety, and he was one of the best. He really was, and I can make that comment. I learned that much about him anyway. But
What's our next thing, Philip?
All right, I've got a Velvet Underground album that was purchased off the street in New York City for 75 cents. The guy who bought it was excited to get a copy of this album, and then he found out later that this was a rare EP demo that the group cut for Columbia Records in 1966, and it's the only known copy of that recording session.
Wow.
And it's sold for $25,000, 33,000 times what he originally paid for it.
For a record, a vinyl
A
record.
vinyl record,
But
yeah,
an
it's-
EP, which I believe was a 45 RPM.
Well, no, it's probably just only had like 4 songs on it, you know, or something.
Well-
EP is,
Extended play.
yeah, but not a long play.
No,
It's,
the
yeah.
long play was the 33, but I
Right.
think they had a series there for a little while. They had the 45s out, and they were extended play.
Maybe.
And they had more than just 2 songs because
Right,
the
okay.
regular 45 had 1 song, you know, on
Right,
each side.
yeah.
And I think they came up with that extended play.
What, they had 2 on each side?
Well, they had
Yeah.
like 3 or 4
yeah.
on each side.
Just
but,
wasn't a
but it
full
was
album.
It was
Yeah.
45, and it was about
Yeah.
the same size as a 45. So
They
you
had
could,
to cut the grooves a lot tighter, didn't they?
yeah, I think so. I don't know how they did that.
And that's
What's on
what
the
that
side of
happened.
it?
Yeah. All right, and
Now,
I
these
got
are things that we're talking about things that people actually picked up
Yeah,
at a garage sale.
at a garage sale. My
someone
goodness.
paid 58 cents for a West Point sweater that the couple noticed that on the tag was written Lombardi 46.
Uh-oh.
And well, that ended up being Vince Lombardi's West Point sweatshirt, and it sold for auction at $43,020.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, here's a really good one here. An Egyptian cat bust This is a 2,500-year-old bronze cat bust originating in Egypt. It was almost thrown away after a yard sale in Cornwall, South England. The cat is left over after the sale, and the owners threw it away, believing it had little to no value. But someone picked it up out of the garbage, and it's sold for $80,000.
That's what we call today a dumpster diver.
That's right.
Exactly.
You're right, Larry. I guess maybe we ought to go dumpster diving this afternoon.
Well, I was at a friend of mine's house the other day, and he had a nice Echo air meter.
Oh, yeah.
And so when they quit, this one particular store quit using tools, and they throwed it in the dumpster, and just so happened, he jumped in there and got it. Now he's got a $2,000 Echo air meter.
Wow.
Or more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, I tell you what, we need to take a quick break here, and we'll be back just in a minute or two.
All right.
Hello, I'm Pick and Rick T from CFC, best place to get you used auto parts and all types of metals to repurpose for your needs. Just take a drive down 55, see this handsome guy, stop on by. Check out our computer for hundreds of autos to locate the make and the model of the part you need. $2 fee is all you pay. Sign in and get a hand stamp, it's good for all day. Bring in your tools, get the parts you need pulled, and use a wheelbarrow to lighten the load. Pay for your parts, prices you'll be fond of. Each part's price the same, Chevy or Honda. Get exchange warranty for 30 days too. Swap out the parts you don't need for the parts that you do. Happy pick.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
All right, guys, we're back.
All right, we got a couple of more amazing finds here. We've got in the early '70s they were remodeling a projection booth in an old theater, and found an original 1931 Frankenstein movie poster, which sold. It was valued at $100,000, and at auction it brought $358,000.
Goodness.
For a Frankenstein poster.
Boris Karloff.
Well, that's exactly right.
Boring.
Now, Larry, here comes that deal I was telling you about.
All right, this is the
that's
first
not it?
one of the two.
Oh, okay.
Okay, in 1820, Congress ordered William Stone to create 200 reproduction of Declaration of Independence. So these are the Stone copies. Of those 200 reproductions, Michael Sparks, a Tennessee man, found the 36th reproduction. Sparks was shopping at a garage sale when he purchased the salt and pepper shakers along with the document for $2.48. He believed it to be a cheap reprint copy, but began to realize the engraving was far too intricate for a mass-produced copy. He confirmed his suspicions after searching online, and he sold it at auction for $477,000.
You doing all right?
My goodness.
How good return on his investment?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's an Andy Warhol sketch purchased for $5. They haven't sold it, but it's valued at $2 million.
Yeah, but wasn't he like in the 5th grade when he done it?
Yeah. Well, Warhol sketched the drawing when he was around 10 years old.
Oh, boy.
And a Tudor bed frame purchased for 2,200 pounds, British pounds, is now worth 20 million pounds. Is from a bed and breakfast in England, and it was DNA testing on the timber revealed the bed in fact belonged to King Henry VII back in 1486.
That doesn't look like it would be comfortable.
Well, beds weren't comfortable back in 1486. Let me find the one that you were talking about, David. Let me. Okay, here we go. No, that's. Okay, here we go. A bargain hunter in Pennsylvania somehow discovered an original copy of the Declaration of Independence, one of only 24, in a thrift shop. He paid $4 for it because he liked the frame it was in. After he turned the document around and saw what was written on it, he sold it for $2.4 million.
My goodness.
There you go.
Well, you know, that's great, but then you think you have to stop and think. I wonder what I threw away that was worth that much.
Well, we know what you sowed.
Well, thank you. You're bringing that back up, aren't you?
Here's
Poor old Grandpa. What do you think, Larry? Sowed his grandpa's train.
There's no telling the stuff we just walked by
Well,
over the
I
years
know.
and just not
Well,
known.
you know, on behalf of the subject that we're on, you know, I'm a firm believer, unless it's something that you really want it to stay in the family and leave to someone else, there's a time to buy and there's a time to sell.
Well,
And-
he definitely sowed.
okay.
Yeah, but you got to remember too that what you have in your collection and your hoard of stuff, when you pass, your kids look at it and say, "Look at all this junk," and they have a big garage sale and sell the stuff for $2, and they give up. They're selling stuff that's worth a lot of
but
money.
my grandpa never built me no train.
Kind of makes you wonder about David. You know, when he passes,
yeah.
they're going to look at that all those buildings out there, and they're
Well,
going to say, "Hey,
you
let's have a
don't know.
yard
David
sale."
has paid off a manufacturer to reproduce most of the stuff he's got. I've been through his
Oh,
museum,
all
and
right.
I'm going to tell you, David has got stuff that makes you want to go back in time and think about when you grew up and the things that you did and the things that you had
Yeah.
and what you used. When you said something about a while ago, it immediately made me think of, you know, something being torn up or what have you. Let me tell you, we had a segment here not long ago on behalf of ball cards. There ain't no telling that the money in ball cards that I put on my bicycle.
Oh yeah,
folks,
make that motorcycle
Make
sound.
it sound like a moped. There's no telling.
What about that rhino horn?
Say a man in 2013 purchased a libation cup from an Australian thrift store for $4. Later, it was discovered to be a traditional Chinese artifact made from rhino horn, and he sold it for $60,400.
Oh boy.
Who found out that was in 2012, Beth Feeback walked into a North Carolina Goodwill looking for a blanket, and she instead bought this painting that looks like the cover of Van Halen 1 to
I
me.
thought it was a cat.
It's
Boy, she's got it on my angle.
it's red with a white, blue, and black stripe diagonal across it, and
Is it not British or something?
she took it and hung it up.
It's got the
And
same color as
later she
British
found
flag.
out it was created by Ilya Balatoski, titled Vertical Diamond, and she sold it at auction for $34,375.
Oh my.
I would like to do that, you know.
Yeah.
Turn
Hey,
it.
would be nice. wouldn't it?
Philip, you got to get out and go to these places if you want to do it.
Yeah, you got to stop
Our
at
man
all
Larry
the.
here has done them kind of things, and
Yeah.
so was
if,
Ronnie.
well, if y'all notice now that the money that these items brought was brought in auction.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of items, you know, that have been sold just to individuals. They've been they've gone to an auction company, and I believe that has a lot to do with it bringing
That's how you
the
get
bigger
the money out of
dollars.
these
That's a smart way to merchandise.
I think so, absolutely.
There was a lady who at a flea market in Philadelphia who happened across a necklace that she really liked, and she received compliments each time she wore it. But it wasn't until she visited a Alexander Calder exhibit at the Philadelphia Art Museum she realized that it was one of his. The necklace sold for $267,750.
Oh my goodness.
And
But the big thing is they found them at yard sales or garage sales
Thrift
or
stores,
thrift
yeah.
stores
Thrift stores.
or thrift stores or something like that.
There's still a lot of stuff out there. Harry.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hey, Tullahoma, Larry, they had a yard sale over there in off of Washington Street,
Yes.
and it was an older house, and they actually found some old toys from the 50s still in the boxes.
Wow.
I was there.
Oh, did
Wow.
you buy a bunch?
No, Ruth Ann and I visited there, and I bought some watches there.
Did you see the toys?
They were upstairs, and I had them tell me about it. I couldn't make it up the stairs.
There you are. So that's proof that they're still around.
But folks, there was some fine stuff over there, and I mean they were
Bakelite radio.
letting it go for
they were selling it.
a little. Yeah, oh no, they
Yeah.
intended on getting
Yeah.
rid of it.
Yeah, they sold Bakelite radios and everything.
Oh, they had so they found a box of old sport magazine. Of course, you know I'm into sports real big.
You get 'em?
Got outbid on them. They was. Hey, that's another thing that you can talk about. Now I know that on Black Fridays, especially the ladies, when there's a sale going on, I've been to them where one lady be holding up a clothing item, and another lady reach and grab it out of her hand.
Is that what happened?
No, but now I was negotiating on behalf of them, and as the guy was listening in, he raised the bid, and
That happens.
That happens. It was kind of rude, I thought, on his part. I've never done anything.
You said shrewd, not rude, right?
Oh my! But anyway, I think you get the point.
I got the point. You know anything about Tiffany eggs?
I've got there was.
I know that sometimes when you crack them, you get double yolkers. I know that.
Well, this one here is the gold Tiffany egg.
I've got one that they
Check it
found at a Tiffany or a Fabergé egg.
Yeah, I'd rather have Fabergé.
at a flea market, and now they paid $14,000 for it because it was gold. And the guy who bought it said, at least I can melt it down and sell the gold. But luckily, before that was happened, he checked into it and found out the egg was an Easter gift to Tsar Alexander III, to his wife Maria Fedorovna in 1887, and he sold it for $33 million at auction.
Wow.
33
million, Howard.
Yeah.
Damn.
You think
I'm in the wrong business.
you don't
I need to be
buy-
a picker.
No, what you need to do is some of these people that call in on Swap and Shop, you probably need to get over and check it out.
I bet you there's been some bargains there that
Heck
nobody
yeah.
realized over the
Okay.
years. Yeah,
More bargains, not just that item they got. When you get over there, they got other stuff.
they got other
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
You better start doing it, Howard.
here's a thrift store in Columbus, Ohio. A man bought a poster that's an exposition of Picasso sculptures, and it's just the poster for the thing, but it was signed by Picasso, and he sold it for $7,000. He bought it for $14.
Yeah. Obviously in the wrong business.
No, I think you're in the right business.
No, I'm in the right business.
Yeah, because when they say they got something, you need to zoom out there
I need
after
to
the
zoom
show.
out. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a break while I go zoom out and buy some stuff. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Pick and Rick T from CFC, best place to get you used auto parts and all types of metals to repurpose for your needs. Just take a drive down 55, see this handsome guy, stop on by. Check out our computer for hundreds of autos to locate the make and the model of the part you need. $2 fee is all you pay. Sign in and get a hand stamp, it's good for all day. Bring in your tools, get the parts you need pulled, and use a wheelbarrow to lighten the load. Pay for your parts, prices you'll be fond of. Each part's price the same, Chevy or Honda. Get exchange warranty for 30 days too. Swap out the parts you don't need for the parts that you do. Happy pick.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
All right, we're back.
Okay.
All right, now Larry,
Yes, sir.
this part here, you get to tell us some of how do you set up the flea? You got
Well, okay.
and
First,
then Ronnie's going to tell us about Star Wars on
Well,
the last tag.
well, there's a couple things I'd like to mention on behalf of flea markets versus yard sales or vice versa. We all need to think now when we go to the flea market, we all need to realize that all those vendors, because they pay rent on their spot, and the rent, depending on what they, the merchandise they have and what they try to sell monthly, I recently found out that them spots cost them up to $120 a month. So if you're set on nothing but bargains and you go to the flea market, don't be disappointed when they're asking a little more, closer to retail for their items on account of them having to pay the rent. Mm-hmm. Yard sales, well, they got their yard, they set up most of the time, with 6 foot, 8 foot tables. They bring out their wares on behalf of stuff that they've accumulated over the years. There's a lot of that going on now. Your baby boomers are selling stuff that they've accumulated, and the main reason is because their grandkids don't desire it, don't want it, and so it's set out into a yard sale. Another thing about setting up at a yard sale, you need to have it ready to sell, because the people who are interested in going to yard sales, they're there to knock on your door and get you up, because early birds. But now a lot of people place their ads when they place their ads on behalf of a yard sale. No early birds, please. No early. That means don't. If they say 7 o'clock, don't show up at 6:30, and try to look up under the covering that's on the tables, and they do. They cover it up due to moisture, due what have you, or the rain. And, respect that and get there, and if you want to get there early, maybe get there 5 minutes till it's time for them to take the covering off their tables, because most people it's going to have, especially a 2 or 3 day yard sale, and got a lot of merchandise to set out. They'll have that yard sale 2 or 3 days, some of them Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, some Friday and Saturday, and then most just Saturday only due to having to work through the week. But anyway, there are more bargains at yard sales. If you plan on having a yard sale and you really are not sure that you want to reduce prices on a lot of your items and you're trying to have a retail yard sale, you're going to be disappointed. Because if you're having a retail yard sale, you're only going to probably bring in $15, $20, and you set up that stuff all over your yard, got out the tables, and it's a whole lot tougher on you to put back up than it is to set it out. I have experienced this on behalf of my wife and I having a yard sale. And like I say, the key word, whether it's yard sale and or flea market, the key word is negotiations. If you're not going to negotiate, and someone was asked a question, will you take any less? Be sure and tell them, no, that's a firm price. But I have had more success on behalf of pricing something a little higher than what I'm willing to take. So my advice to any and everybody that's having a yard sale, when you make your prices, price it just a little higher. That way you can come down. Yeah, and I have had success going to yard sales, and I am one of the probably 9 out of 10 that goes to a yard sale. That one loaner is looking for something he or she needs. The other 9 are looking for something they can purchase to resell. And I mean, that is definitely going on today, big time. And so I respect that because I do it myself. I am a negotiator. And what I do is, if there's something I really want or really need, I will negotiate. But if the man says, no, I got to have $3, and I offered him maybe $2, well, then when I walk off about 3 steps, I'm putting him to the test to see if he'll think about that $2. Because let me tell you something, anytime, I've learned this in sales, anytime you got something for sale and somebody is negotiating with you on behalf of that item, if you let that person walk, it may be a long time before you have somebody else come up and want the same item. But I thought I would.
We've got
a
caller.
Looks like we might have a caller here.
But if he doesn't act right, feel free to hang up.
You're on Let's Talk Antiques.
While we're talking about yard sales,
Yes, sir.
I would like to vent about yard sales, and it won't be a very popular comment. But we've got people in Coffee County who have perpetual yard sales that have turned into a business.
Yes, sir.
And they do not have a business license, and they do not collect sales tax.
Well, let me say
Probably
that.
don't report anything
Yes, sir.
on those.
let me say this about that now. I do believe in due process of time, which any of us that go to yard sales or set up yard sales, I believe that is going to come to pass. It's just, I think they're trying to figure out a way to do it, because let me tell you something else. There could be trades involved. There could be, a lot of aspects of the business. But yes, sir, I do believe there are the same people. I've gone to them monthly that set up.
Five weekends a month.
Yes, sir.
Would be enough in a year's time would be about enough to let people have yard sales. But there's one on the Manchester-Tullahoma Highway every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from now till doomsday.
Yes, sir.
that is nothing but a business.
I
They
agree.
ought to have a business license and charge sales tax and pay income tax on their income.
Well, as I said, I do believe it's coming. I think they're just working on it, trying to figure it out, and how they can do it, and do it where that other than the person that's setting up on behalf of the tax money and the license money. Like I say, I believe it's coming down the road. There are already places, cities, towns. I know there's some in Alabama that they are definitely charging for the business license in order to have the yard sale. So it's coming.
Right.
It just hasn't got here
it's
yet,
not
but it's
popular,
coming. Yeah, I do believe
Thank
it.
you.
Yes, sir. Hey, thank you for the call, and we appreciate your input. Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye.
Bye then.
Yeah, he's right in that a lot of places have you have to get a license to have a yard sale.
Yep.
And the city
Yeah.
police will stop by and check your, in their normal cruising around town, and they check.
You have to get a yard sale permit, and the reason for it is to control things like that.
Well, sure.
so you do have a record.
But
of
a
when they
small
started and
percentage
when
is
they
going to
stopped.
ruin it for doesn't
You're
that
supposed
happen?
to
That
like
happens
how it
everywhere.
works. Yeah.
Well, you take it to flea markets. They're supposed to set their license where the public can see it.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. The IRS goes through these flea markets and checks and
Yeah,
sees if you've got that
the
license.
the real flea markets
Yes,
set
sir.
up. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, I agree.
Got a call?
Got another call? Okay, looks like we hit a subject here. You're on Let's Talk Antiques.
Yes, sir. Concerning the yard sales,
Yes.
we have lived in cities where you had to have a permit to have a yard sale, and then when you exceeded your maximum number of yard sales for a certain period of time, you could have no more.
I realize that, and yes, that is something that is happening today. Yes, the permit, and like you say, you're only allowed to do probably so many a year.
Right.
And,
then, if when they exceed that amount, then they could be considered a business, and they would be required to get the business business.
Well, I'm even
license.
wondering as you speak if there's not maybe a fine involved or something, if you was to...
I never did exceed my maximum, and so I don't know if there was a fine, but that's a possibility that that could be considered.
Well, how about the success you've had going to yard sales? Do you find that you looking for just anything and everything, or have you found that when you have a need that you have been successful at finding what you're looking for at a yard sale?
Actually, I don't go to that many yard sales anymore at this time and period in my life. I just don't have the time to do that, so I don't actually go to yard sales anymore.
Well, I'm going to comment now. As far as my wife and I, we're both seniors, and it gives us a little something to do, and I know it's something that I thoroughly enjoy doing. Is going out and seeing what's there, and like I say, I'm guilty. I'm one of the what I consider 9 individuals out of 10 that's looking for something to purchase to where I can put it in my yard sale or resell it on behalf of people. Do it all the time, and hey. And I respect that, and I have no problem with that because, and I guess the main reason is because I do it myself.
Yeah,
but I do
would
appreciate your call, and I appreciate your
input. I would enjoy it
input.
if I had the time. I sure would.
Yes, ma'am. I
Thank
understand.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
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 All right. Well, good. That's interesting comments. But that may be coming to here if
Oh
people
no,
abuse
it's
it.
coming, y'all. It's just a matter of time.
And
they're
another
trying to figure it out.
It's
They're
already
trying to
been
figure.
discussed
They're
here.
trying to figure it out. Where, you know, they can slide it in on you, you know, and you'll still see. They all the time looking for ways of getting money.
That's right. That's what I was waiting for you to stop. That's what I was going to say. These politicians, you
Yes,
got to
sir.
watch them.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Harry, we better take another break.
Well, as soon as I said politicians, you noticed that.
We better take another break because Ronnie's got some really neat
okay.
stories about Star Wars. After he, Larry,
Go ahead, Larry.
No, I was just going.
I was going to
comment on
say,
something.
but
Go
go ahead
politics,
and comment.
they're always
No,
looking for a
no,
new source of revenue.
Don't tell what. Stuff
All right, we'll be back here in just a minute or two.
Hello, I'm Pick and Rick T from CFC, best place to get you used auto parts and all types of metals to repurpose for your needs. Just take a drive down 55, see this handsome guy, stop on by. Check out our computer for hundreds of autos to locate the make and the model of the part you need. $2 fee is all you pay. Sign in and get a hand stamp, it's good for all day. Bring in your tools, get the parts you need pulled, and use a wheelbarrow to lighten the load. Pay for your parts, prices you'll be fond of. Each part's price the same, Chevy or Honda. Get exchange warranty for 30 days too. Swap out the parts you don't need for the parts that you do. Happy pick.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
All right, we're back.
Now
We're back
Talk
with
about what we have found.
What we got? Ronnie coming up now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronnie's sitting here. I'll tell you what I'm looking at, Howard. Look at this. Ain't that neat?
Oh,
that's
What do
right.
you think about that?
No, that's a low blow.
That looks like
That looks like Ronnie.
a Lionel being blowed up. What that looks like?
Ronnie, that looks like Harris Train.
Yes. What? And look here, it's got a little box.
$2.3 million. So, no,
Oh God! Hey,
just
You know how to hurt a fella, don't you?
How many of those do you want?
I was fixing it. I thought maybe you would have fell out.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna have to strap him in, Larry.
I heard that. Yeah.
And,
All right, Ronnie. So you tell them some. You got a few stories there you can tell them.
well, yeah, I've got a lot of stories I can tell. It's just, do I want to tell them is the thing.
That's because he sold it, Larry, and he
Yeah.
wished he'd have kept it.
Yeah, well,
Tell him about the Star Wars
Well,
deal down
hey,
in Alabama.
yeah, well, that one was like a 2 visits to the flea
Yeah.
market. We were going to Scottsboro, one day a month, and you know we went every month, and the guys knew us and they knew we were coming back, and I told this one guy that I was looking for some Star Wars action figures, and he said, "Well, come and see me when you come back next month." So. We did, and this guy has case lots of them. He had a five and dime store that he shut down in the 80s, and he had them, the case lots of them, and they were $300, $400, $500, $600 figures, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I got, I think I got two, and I had 2 cases, 2.5 cases. I took every one he had, $20 a piece. Sent them off and had them graded, and then of course, you know. What I was calling culls at the time I put on eBay, which were stuff that would grade below like a B or a C, you know, something like that, 85, 90, you know, something like that. Which now that stuff brings thousands of dollars, you know.
That's unbelievable. That
Well,
toys.
it's unbelievable what you let
Basically
go
toys.
of that you know you've got, you know.
how do you ship things off to get them graded? I mean,
You have to ship it insured.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in the box, so it's already boxed.
No,
but
I
how are
didn't
you?
send the case lots. I sent them individually.
Oh, okay.
Because when I get something, I want to look at it.
Yeah. Okay.
And if I'd have been real smart, I would have sent those.
Now, you said you sent it off to be graded.
Yeah.
So you sent it to an
Action
appraiser.
Figure Authority.
Okay, and now, did they charge you a fee for?
$15 a piece
that's
at
not
the time.
bad.
They're a lot more than that now.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of value, though,
But I
Harry.
mean, yeah.
Well, it authenticates what you got because, you know, people are bad about cutting those dang bubbles and swapping figures out.
Oh yeah, I
You know,
bet so.
and gluing them back where you couldn't tell it. But, you know, that don't have anything with a bind. But that's, you know, something that you want to look at when you're sending stuff off. But, you know, we found all kinds of stuff up there. We would tell them like I said, what we were looking for, and we come back, they would have us stuff.
Yeah,
They'd be
they-
out looking.
Flea market people, a real good one, he will get out and find stuff.
Yeah, because they
Oh,
know
absolutely.
they have a customer base.
Right,
People
right.
that come and
Absolutely.
sell
I mean,
them
he's
every
got
month.
to replace. If he's a vendor and he's selling, he's got to find merchandise to replace. Well,
Well,
not
yeah.
necessarily replace, but
No, to
buy
sell.
something to go in that spot
If they know
where
what
he
their
had something
customers
that
are
he
looking
sold.
for,
He,
they're
he
gonna get out
he's
and
the
find
guy.
stuff.
He's the guy that's cruising the yard sales
That's
during
it.
the week, so he can have it
Absolutely.
at the flea market on the
Absolutely.
weekend.
Areas where you can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, Larry, you
Can't do
found
it yourself.
you bought a watch one time.
Well,
and
now you had asked me, David. What was one of the better items that I had purchased at a yard sale. I have got into collecting wristwatches, and I would negotiate the price of a watch that would be laying on the table. There might be 3 or 4, and I would negotiate the price on purchasing all 4 of them. 3 out of the 4, my only thing they needed was a battery.
Mm-hmm.
I would purchase the battery, take the back off, put the new battery in, and running well. Now, I purchased a lot of these. I don't know. I may have somewhere near half of 100. I may have about 50 watches, but I did purchase a little small box. A lady had a yard sale, and it had about 7 watches in it. And I asked the lady, I said, what would you have to have for this box of watches? Well, would you give $1? Well, there again now, I didn't want to get my money out too quick, but I knew they were mine. Okay. So I paid the lady $1 for the box of watches, got them home, and found out that I had a Lucian Picard
Ooh, that's a
watch
good brand.
that was probably made back in the 30s, 40s, and it was gold. It was a gold watch, 14 karat gold, and it had a diamond where the 12 is. It had a diamond. So I looked it up on the internet, and it was the lowest price I saw on one. That was close to looking like mine, was around 400, and then I continued to look further, and I found one exactly like the one that I had purchased at a yard sale, and you can ask anything on the internet for any item you got for sale.
Right.
But he had a price tag on it of $1,200. So, can you come out well? Yeah, you never know. They say, there's treasures out there. I never thought that I would end up giving $1 for something, that I was just going to put wristwatch,
Right.
and came up with a 14 karat gold Lucian Picard wristwatch.
Hey, Ronnie, on those Star Wars figures, you said it was about 2.5 cases. What would you think, just off the top of your head, the value would be today's market with them being graded? How many was in a box?
Good Lord, I would say there
Was
was.
there 12 or 24?
I think there was 12. But it would depend on which characters it was. I'd have to go. I'd got a list.
Do
But
you?
I would have to look.
But several $1,000.
Oh, yes. Several tens of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Now, Howard, if you notice, I'm doing him like we did you about the train.
Yeah.
He probably had $100,000 worth of figures graded.
Do you have a Chewbacca?
Oh, I had a bunch.
He had them all.
Oh
Do you have
boy.
them all?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got quite a few.
Well, now, there was one that was really hot. There's something about a cape.
Boba Fett. Well, the cape, the vinyl cape Jawas.
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
The vinyl cape Jawas.
Wow.
Yeah, now they only made it a little while that actually had the cloth cape, right? And then they went to the vinyl.
Well, they started molding them into the figures.
Oh, okay.
Because the kids were taking the capes off.
Yeah, and they're afraid they'd swallow them or something.
Well,
or
just losing them.
Just
so they actually molded it. So they really saved the process, didn't they?
But now the Boba Fett, he actually shot a missile to start with, and the kids were getting choked on that. So.
I had one of those.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting down near the end here, guys.
Had.
You better start wrapping it up.
Well, I'll tell you what, real quick before we go, You had another of the double telescopic that went with the early bird set.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of them.
Yeah, but they're worth some money now.
Yeah.
The Luke Skywalker.
Oh,
and
boy.
Obi-Wan Kenobi or the Darth Vader. Those three had double telescopic lightsabers.
Hey, anyway, appreciate you coming, Larry.
Well, I want, as always, anytime you invite me to talk about some of these subjects, which you, by the way, feel like, folks, David sometimes labels me as an expert. Now, we need to decline on that. I will give my input, and it will be true to form. But listen, I enjoy so much him giving me the opportunity to be here at WMSR and to reach out to the public on behalf of whatever the issue may be. And we thoroughly enjoy doing it, and we also thoroughly enjoy any input that you might have. So be sure and if you have something you'd like to say, be sure and give us a call.
Right. All right. That looks like about it for this week for Let's Talk Antiques. We'll be back next week. Same time, same bat channel. Bye-bye.